All right, well, I'm sure you all know this, but if you don't know, my name is Moo Butler, and this is my Div III project. And let's see, before we start the show, there's a few things we gotta check in about. So exit signs are where they are marked. There is a bathroom down the hall. The show runs about 45 minutes, so there's no intermission, but if you need to use the bathroom, I'd say do it now. Let's see. Photos are welcome. I would just ask no flash photography. And if you feel inspired, turn off your phone too. That's great. And yeah, let's start the show. So before we begin and dive into questions of identity and selfhood, I would like us to take a moment to think about the land that we come from and acknowledge the land that we are currently on. I want to begin by naming that we are on unceded Nonotuck land. I want to honor and pay tribute to the Nonotuck people, the original inhabitants of the land that Hampshire College now resides on. The Nonotuck are just one of the many indigenous Algonquin groups which lived in the Quintecua Valley that we now know as the Connecticut River Valley, and more specifically in parts of what we now call Amherst, Northampton, and Hadley. However, it is important to mention that while there are still individuals with Nonotuck ancestry here, the Nonotuck people as a tribe are no longer here because of the ongoing violence and erasure due to European colonization. So with that, I would like to also acknowledge the neighboring indigenous nations as well. The Abenaki to the north, the Nipmuc and Agawam to the east, the Mohegan and Pequot to the south, and the Mohican to the west. And as we are gathered here, I want to invite us all to reflect upon the lands that we come from, or the lands that we currently live on. Are you new to it? Have you been there a long time? Are you familiar with the indigenous communities that used to be there? Are you familiar with the indigenous peoples that are there today? What have you been taught about the land? What relationships do you hold with it? And how do you connect with it? I offer that we hold these questions throughout the show, but beyond it as well. And moving forward, I would like to mention that there is actually going to be a Native Crossroads Festival here happening at Hampshire College on May 4th, which is a great event and opportunity to not only support and interact with, but to learn from local indigenous artists and community members as well. The event will be held from 11 to 5 and will include vendors, games of stickball, that's the game that inspired lacrosse. There will be storytelling, drumming, and song. So with that, let's start the show. Are you big? Are you small? Are you short? Are you tall? Well, who are you? Oh, are you a juggler? Are you a clown? Do you smile? Do you frown? No. Are you black? Are you brown? Do you go up? Do you go down? Well, who are you? Are you white? Are you mixed? Or do you like your martinis with a twist? Well, is your alter ego who you wish you could be? Or would you agree to disagree? Are you the birds? Are you the bees? Or are you the land? Or are you the sea? Well, are you adventurous? Are you creative? Are you indigenous? Or are you non-native? In what ways are you privileged? In what ways are you oppressed? Well, do you like to blend in? Or are you the best dressed? Well, are you disabled? Are you mentally ill? Have you been exploited? Do you believe in free will? No. Are you straight? Or are you gay? Or would you prefer not to say? Well, are you queer? Are you pan? Are you a woman? Are you a man? Are you cis? Are you trans? Or are you something the world can't understand? Who are you? Oh, I think I've got it! Who are you if not yourself? For you are full of you. And who are you if not your flesh? Your bones, your blood, your goo? Well, perhaps I've been asking the wrong questions. So, are you a sound? A taste? Ooh. A touch? Oh. A sight that must be seen? Or are you a freak? A fool? A friend? Or a bloodthirsty fiend? Well, are you wrinkled? Are you steamed? Are you unknown? Or are you esteemed? the norm? Or do you snicker? Do you bicker? Or do you like to conform? You. I don't think you do. No. You. Yes, you. I think you. Are you a feminist killjoy who is ready to fight? Or are you lost in the sauce and filled up with fright? Well, are you enraged? Do you feel trapped? Have you been caged? Were you betrayed? Well, do you feel ashamed? Sometimes I feel ashamed too. And quite frankly, it's exhausting. Are you exhausted? Have you been burned? Do you feel numb? Should I be concerned? Well, let's see. Are you lost? Are you sad? Are you depressed? Are you mad? Are you mad? Mad like a hatter on a hot summer's night. Do you laugh and sing with delight? Well, for whomever you are, I am glad you are here. For sometimes I tremble and I quake with fear. Even to the point that brings me to tears. But can you relate? Do you feel this way too? Do you sometimes feel like an insecure moo? Am I too big? Am I too small? Sometimes it feels like too much to handle it all. But that's when we say, to hell with it all. Let's go out and dance. Let's go to a ball. tree, a rock, a wave, a song upon the sea? Well, if I am not a juggler, then who am I to be? Well, enough about me. So, let's see. I think now I must tell you a story. A story about a friend who was lost. Like my tea, he found solace in the circus, and now he's the boss. So, I just have to find my suitcase. Let's see. No, that's not it. Let's see. Perhaps it's this one. Oh, jeez. Okay. Woo! What? Whew. Oh, okay. Here we go. Oh, my goodness. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Woo! Let's see. Okay. No. It's not this one. Okay. Okay. Perhaps it's this one. Goodness. Let's see here. Perhaps. Oh. Well, that's quite nice. Oh, yes. It's not this one either. Okay. How strange. Let's see. Oh, here it is. All right. Okay. Let's all take a breath.
There once was a little lamb among a flock of 500. He was much smaller than the smallest ram, and he often felt outnumbered. For his name was Muffin, and he was a strange little sheep who loved to sleep and dreamt dreams like no other, like taking a leap to be a circus freak and standing up to the others. They'd say, "A sheep in the circus? How odd that would be. Surely that'd be a show no one would see." for they always laughed and made fun of his dream and his sighs, which often meant little Muffin had tears in his eyes. Until one day, Muffin's life transformed. Everything changed after a great big storm. For the sheep rearranged and ran every which way, which left little Muffin alone in dismay. He ended up in the forest, not sure where to go. Then he tripped down a hill and endured a big blow. Now dizzy and confused, where was he now? So far from home, but he didn't know how. Then to his surprise, a squirrel came to his aid. She made him a map and then went on her way. But just as he set off to find his way back, a big gust of wind snatched up the map. It was back to square one. The Muffin already felt done, and he began to question who he even was. Would they even want him back? Did they know he was gone? Poor little Muffin always felt like a pawn. But onward and upward, he kept on his stride, even though little Muffin felt weary inside. But he decided to himself he would return home with pride. He was done being bullied, for he had mountains to climb. So forward he went, through rain and through snow. Muffin went where his heart told him to go. And just then, to his surprise, was a train before his eyes. So with his tired mind, he hopped on inside. But just as he settled to lay down to rest, he realized he wasn't alone on this quest. "Who's there?" said a voice from behind a hay bale. But all Muffin could see was a tiny wool tail. He couldn't believe what he saw. Was it true? He said, "The name's Muffin, but alas, who are you?" And there he was, an even smaller sheep who hopped out from behind the big hay bale heap. He said, "My name's Mighty, but as you can see, I'm not big and strong, but clever I mean." And Mighty was tough, despite his small size. He had been hopping trains almost his whole life. Took him seriously as a 4-inch tall sheep. In the past, he was called the 4-inch tall freak. So Mighty vowed to himself he would never be weak, and he vowed to himself he would never be meek. He would be mighty, and his heart would be strong. He would challenge anybody tried to do him wrong. So as you can imagine, the two related a great deal. And even though they just met, the two started to heal. They bonded over their hardships and discussed how to find purpose. And Muffin shared of his dream to someday join the circus. So Mighty said, "Stick with me, and I know we could go far. We could start our own circus. We should reach for the stars." So they band together to create quite the team. Mighty had the gusto, and Muffin had the dream. Just as they got excited to scheme up a plan, the train came to a halt, and they were thrown off by a man. Now cold on the street, the two sat on the curb, and it started to rain, and the two felt disturbed. Muffin said, "We should just give up. How could we proceed? We're just two small sheep. We will never succeed." So they felt down on their luck as the cars passed them by. They splashed and they splashed, and Muffin started to cry. But then something curious happened by chance. A wagon rolled by, and the rain was gone in a glance. Then they noticed a suitcase had dropped out from behind. So Mighty said to Muffin, "Let's see what we might find." It had a note that said free. So they took a look inside. And as they opened it up, their eyes opened wide. There was circus equipment, noses galore, ugly gloves and a tent. There was costumes and more. So they said, "This is it. This is our sign to start our own circus that will be truly divine. It would be for the black sheeps, the freaks and the fools, and all those who don't like to follow the rules." Muffin and Mighty's little big top it would be, a place to stand up, a place to break free. Muffin would be the ringmaster of sorts, and Mighty would manage the band of cohorts. So they took a great leap, diving into the unknown, but they knew they couldn't do it alone. Mighty said, "I know a place with misfits like us. Perhaps they will join us if they give us their trust." There was a rainbow with arms and a round-bearded bug, a long snake with legs and a mustache on a slug, a one-eyed worm and a sparkling frog, a smiling mushroom and a three-legged hog. So they assembled their crew and took their show on the road. Then one day they ended up at Muffin's old home. The flock couldn't believe a circus came to their farm, and let alone it was Muffin's, who they all used to harm. So Muffin felt nervous before they started the show. He tried to be strong, but his confidence was low. Then Mighty said to Muffin, "No matter what they think, remember you have me. Remember who you are, how you know how to be. Your chosen freak family will love you for you, so don't be afraid to do what you do." So he gave it his all as a proud ringmaster, and the crowd went wild with cheers and laughter. The show was a success, and the sheep apologized for ever doubting Muffin and making fun of his size. So this is the story of M&M's LBT that went on to spread love and joy guaranteed.
Wasn't that something? Well, you know, and in all. Some are more abstract. All right. So, if it's all right, can we get vulnerable? Only if, of course, you're comfortable. Mighty? Uncomfortable? Well, and if you're uncomfortable, that's okay too. So, perhaps we should all take another breath. All right, in through the nose, out through the mouth. So, have you been like Muffin and Mighty, going after your dreams? Or do you feel stuck and desperate to scream? And have you ever been taught to deny who you are? Would you be afraid to write your own memoir? And have you been robbed of the life you dream of? Are you haunted by the past? Are you haunted by love? And do you feel guilty? Does time feel like it's warped? What places do you come from? What views do you support? What have you internalized? Where does your shame lie? Do you feel supported? Do you need to cry? And have you suffered? Are you in pain? Or is your head in the clouds? Is it hard to explain? And what are the uses of your anger and your rage? Do you use them to help you break free from your cage? And are you dysphoric? Are you in grief? Do you sometimes wish you were an autumn leaf falling suspended into mid-air, temporarily floating without a care? Or are you euphoric? Do you allow yourself pleasure when you are ecstatic? Do you know you're a treasure? Or are you a treasure that proves hard to find? Do you hate your body? Do you hate your mind? And how does your trauma live life in your limbs? Does it like to dance out? Does it live in your skin? My trauma lives inside me. It's inside my inner child. It's present in my fear. It's irrational, it's wild. And when I feel abandoned, when I want to escape, my trauma creeps behind me. In my shadow, it takes shape. You see, brings me back as a traveler through time. It lives in my body. It lives in my mind. And what have your parents passed down through your blood? Are you unsettled by getting in the mud? So, in what ways are you curious about your dreams and desires? Are your passions what feed you? Do they feed your fire? And how do you understand your feelings and yourself? What makes you happy? What makes you melt? So, do you know who you are? Will you ever arrive? Have you already? Will we know when we die? And will you transform the world through the erotic and dark power? Will you go into the void? Will you bloom like a flower? And will you transition to become something new? For we change every day. I know that to be true. So if that's the case, then what animals are inside you? Is there a winged friend? Does it have a whipping tail that is ready to defend? Or is it ready to spread wings for the first time tomorrow? Is there a bat out of hell that is ready for your sorrow? Is the shadow that lurks behind the animal of your mind? Is it creeping and perching and ready to find? That your nails have turned to claws, that your feet have turned to paws, but your heart remains fuzzy, warm and soft. Does it slither with intention as you fly to new dimensions? Is the animal of your mind your own creature of invention? As you purr and you howl and you scurry through your thoughts, remember who you are. Remember who you are not. You see, if this is your path, as it is mine, you will ebb, you will flow, but you will be just fine. You may not have all the answers. I've been asking you many questions. But that, my friends, is okay. I just invite you to question. I invite you to play. For I know that we live in a world that's unjust, in a world that might crumble back in to stardust. But making sense of this mess not know your full story. I'm still trying to figure out who you are. Who are you? But I do know a few things